Today we're going to take a look at Multimedia Sciences Resolving the Problem Lab. Resolving the Problem software is based upon a simulation of a mass suspended by two strings. The software takes students step by step through the process of taking data, performing calculations, and evaluating the results. The results illustrate the fact that the total vertical force of the two strings added together must equal the weight of the mass. One of the unique things about this experimental software is that the entire lab is done in the software and is printed out from the software, including all of the calculations and questions. So let's take a look at the lab. First of all, it shows the students the lab equipment, what they would look like in the real world. Talks about the simulation and how the simulation works. But there's a center line. There are two strings. There are a set of directions that take the students step by step, and they can say, yes, I read through the lab equipment and lab simulation screens, to using the given mass calculate the weight, and so on. They can then run the experiment, and they're supposed to choose a number of data runs. First of all, where they have a very small angle, and then they can measure the angles using the included protractor, and then they can put those values into the data table. Etc. And their answers for the weight here. And then they can go back and they can change the angle, take the new data, add it to the data table, and when they're done, they can then print out the data table so that they continue with their calculations and answering the questions. At any point, they can always go back to the data table, or they can go back and take further runs in the simulation. Then there are a set of questions. What happens to the scalar sum of the two forces as the angle between them increases? The scalar sum increases, whatever the students believe is the answer. They fill in all of these questions and they print the page. Page 2, find the sum of the two vertical components and record it. Find a percent error, 0.5%. When they finish the fill-ins, they then print the page, and when they're done, go back to the directions, fill out the conclusion screen, put together a lab report with the following parts: a cover sheet, data table, questions, etc. So when the students are done, they will have a complete lab report without leaving the software. One of the nice things about using a simulation is that it saves a lot of time in setting up the equipment. I know that this particular lab takes a fair amount of time to set up. It is hard for the students to read these particular force scales. So this allows the students to get better data and lets them spend more time on the calculations. Certainly there's a place for hands-on labs, but not necessarily everyone has to be that way. So you're interested in finding out more information about the Resolving the Problem software? Please go to Teachers Pay Teachers at this URL. There, you can also find more information on other multimedia science software and materials physics and chemistry simulations, labs, games, challenges, teacher tools, and game making software. Thanks for watching.